them out of the way.
You approve it for this from council?
No, I got the, what's the name of the fire brigade. Yeah. They've been insisting with that, and this old lady here, she said to us, please get these trees out of the way.
What have you got out there? D9 or something?
No, not D9. D9 will be the rest of the D9 is something that's 22 colour. You know what I mean?
I don't know what you're doing. You better get it out and show me, mate.
I'll use the flex though for the
Nice, really nice, in the middle of the swamp. Here comes Andrew to my boys.
Why have you come down into here? Look, this is not good. This is not good. There's nothing I want to do. The machine got stuck. No, mate, you shouldn't even be in here. This is 7A, high conservation land. It's not supposed to be anywhere near. And anyway, where do you own? I'm going to go and switch it off until I get confirmation that you have approval from council. This is illegal. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go back. This is all. It's breaching council's LEP and consent to remove vegetation. I'm going to issue you with a clean-up notice, which is going to cost you $320. This all has to be restored back to what it was. We're directing to council.
yeah.
What I'm going to do first is find out whether or not you've actually got consent from council to remove the vegetation. What you've got to understand is this is what's called a hanging swamp. Regardless of the fact that it's privately owned, it's a hanging swamp. It's probably the only one left in the whole Illawarra. It's zone 7A, which is council's highest environmental conservation protection zone. It is a zone that will never have development in it. This sort of thing is just, frankly, is leaving me totally gobsmacked. You should have been liaising with the council to discuss you don't just go in and remove dead trees for a start, because they've got also, especially in this sort of conservation zone, you're not going to have people camping here.
Like when I come here every weekend, or every second weekend, make kids up and down.
Yeah, kids are up and down. Well, kids are going to do that sort of thing. That's just a, and if one of those stags fell over and killed a kid, that would be unfortunate. I don't think it would be actually reliable. So there's a number of problems here. I'm going to make a couple of phone calls, but it works without consent. Basically, all this is illegal. And this sort of thing is just...
Yeah, but this is unfortunate.
This is outrageous. It's hanging swamp on this stuff. All this ecological value, from water quality, from biodiversity, could be threatened plants. That's where you stop?
No, actually, we stopped here. We tried to go back a little bit more. Or something more, we tried to get up. Just turn around, push myself down that. Just got up maybe 15 minutes ago. I actually got a letter drop off this afternoon for the neighbours just to let them know what's happening, because a couple of them just came up this morning. And I just rang up the office now just to give a letter to all the residents here.
That should happen.
So you're doing this work because you reckon the Rural Fire Service has given you an order to clear your land?
Yeah, they actually gave us an order.
Or to manage the bushfire issue?
Yeah, both. Actually I was going to do a little road just so the fire brigade can get in and out. That's all easy, that's all.
What did the notice say from the Rural Fire Service? You got that in the... Fucking geese. This is outrageous.
Well, I got everything on tape, so if you want a copy, I'll send you one.
It's just...
DVD and credits.
Yeah. Incredible. Driving a bloody track like that through.
Well, there's fire trails around the other side if they were maintained, and they can come in that way. You know, I mean, I think given an inch and they've taken a mile.
Oh mate, it'll be interesting to see what this letter says.
They actually gave us a letter when they had a bushfire here. They said to us, basically clean up as much as you can. I got a copy of that letter, I think. And I might have a copy of the council. Just let me, it's the reception not that good here. I'll get the officer.
In response to the complaint, an officer of the New South Wales Rural Fire Service has inspected the area of concern and has determined that land does not present a significant bushfire threat at this time. So did you then go to council and get a tree management order? No. So you don't have a proof of any of this?
Even went out to the neighbours this morning. They're happy, basically happy.
No, I don't give a shit what the neighbours say. This is illegal.
Mate, I think I'm doing the right thing.
No, you're not doing the right thing. What you're doing is illegal. Do you understand that? You are doing an illegal activity. Do you have a card or something?
Oh, I'll give you my number.
I need to get your contact details, please. And he needs to get out of here now. So can you go once you've given me your
I can't
details?
get him out now. I'll get him ready to go for the float to come and get him out.
Out of there now, yeah.
I'm going to card. Do you want me to give you a number on the piece of paper? Do you mind?
I'll get my book, mate.
Well, it's what's the time?
It's 5:50.
5:50, and the bulldozer is still here. How interesting.
Can you identify the photos? You've got a number on. That's just a model number. No number plates.
No identification.
Look around the other side.
There's a guy walking across here. Look at all this stuff.
Yeah.
Is it? Oh, the battery's nearly flat. Bugger. Let's come over here. See, I only just charged this battery.
That was what we asked them to do. The bushfire brigade came up. We then got a letter back from this coal company saying we're not going to touch it because the bushfire brigade deem it as not hazardous. End of story. We'll never hear back again. But originally the letter said from the coal company, Simon Bowfield will work on our behalf and liaison with the residents. Never heard boo out of him.
Yeah.
All right, probably Maury and I have got the letters. The original letter we wrote, if you want to see it, Maury, I will gladly.
It's been right through here. This is just a little environmental protection, hey?
Yeah, the highest.
It's been right through out to over there. Knocking down all the natives. Gee, I didn't see all this before.
I'd say those trees are over the limit, the diameter as well.
Hmm. Look, he's gone down here. I didn't see this before. Let's go down and have a little look. Oh, another prime example of, yeah, getting rid of a tree. It's in the way. Let's go down and then see how far they got down here. Look at these natives, just knocked over.
This swamp had 5 rare and threatened plant species in it.
Oh, you can make that 2 now. Crikey, I never saw this part.
Could this be for fire, by the way, down here?
What's this? This is... what the hell? Ah. Crikey.
Yeah.
Well, they got down to here. Oh, how stupid. Oh, crikey. This is the middle of the swamp.
Can you cut that bit out?
How can this be any good for what? There, that's it.
The hanging swamp, Stanwell tops. And what we're about to see is a whole lot of environmental degradation that's occurred. And what's of great concern to begin this story is the fact that we have a whole lot of noxious weeds here. We have Crofton weed, which spreads very, very quickly. We have Paspalin in front of us. And just over there you can see the yellow flower, cassia. We've got this purple flower here. All these are noxious weeds. We just have a look here. You can see that a whole lot of land has been disturbed. And this is like ripping the flesh off an arm and inviting the bacteria to come onto the arm. What's happened is all this land here has been illegally cleared apparently. And all we need is a southerly breeze to blow all those seeds from all those noxious weeds across to here, and there's the gateway to ruining a very environmentally sensitive region. We're just going to look across to this side where a whole lot of significant trees have been removed. Behind us we just had the swamp where there's no trees, and as we look across here we've got a tape measure in front of us. We can use this. You can see that there's been a whole lot of trees bulldozed. I'll just move over here. Here we have a tree. It's at least 1 foot in diameter, or 30 centimetres. Okay, 300 millimetres. Here it is. Freshly knocked out of the ground here. This is a eucalypt. You can tell by the leaves. So that's just the first. Right, unfortunately, what you see here is just the beginning of all this devastation. Several trees there, knocked down. We're going to see a whole lot more. This is something which Council needs to do something about, and the people of New South Wales. Their heritage has been violated. Right, well, we're down about 30 metres from where we started, and you can see there's a whole extensive region here that's been totally denuded of the basic cover that it had. Some of the salt bush here is still hanging on, but much of the other material is gone. You can see we're looking at about 20-30 metres wide here, and let's just have a look what we've lost. And in front of me here is Banksia pallidosa. This is swamp Banksia. You can see how in a healthy swamp I'm really just a small part of it. Much of me is covered. We have a whole lot of Epacris around us here, tiny little plants, a whole lot of little hakeas, very, very vibrant community. Here's the various types of Epacris that we have. Here's the hakea, spiky hakea. You can see how vibrant it is. The whole region is teeming with life. But if we just take a look over there, you'll see how this region here has been denuded. We're going to see a whole lot of damage. And in there particularly, that road is heading for the swamp. Here's a case of a dear little Banksia that's been knocked down. Looks like Banksia integrifolia, coastal Banksia. And it's just one of many hundreds really of this type of plant which has been devastated here. Everywhere you see these bright leaves, you're looking at Banksia integrifolia, which is our coastal Banksia, which has been knocked down. Right, so here's another Banksia integrifolia. Once these dear little things get knocked down, they're gone. They take a long time to regenerate. They need a healthy environment. And what you see is where that trail of destruction went. Right, well, we're just a little bit further down in the swamp, and here it's a wetter region. So what's going to happen is we're going to get ferns which find this area good to grow in, surviving. We have Glycinia dicarpa. This is a fern which likes growing in moist regions, pouched coral fern. Here's a good example of Marsh pallidosa, the marsh Banksia, when it's growing as it should. This one missed the bulldozers by 1 metre. You can see here how badly the soil is disturbed, and what this does is not only does it wreck the ecosystem, but what it does is it brings to the surface a whole lot of uglies and things. This should normally be decomposing under the ground. When it's on the top of the ground, it changes the pH, the whole balance of chemicals across this swamp, as we're going to see when we look in a puddle just down here. Well, we're just down a little bit further, and here what we're looking at is the change to the ecosystem which occurs when this sort of land is disturbed. At the end of this tape measure, you can start to see oil slicks, and this is probably due to extra decomposition and the arising of oil on the surface due to that decomposition. The brackish water is coming to the surface, and whereas once upon a time that was all nicely done under the soil, now what's happening is we're changing it here. You can see where this bulldozer tried to work its way across. We've got total devastation here. We've got trenches where the bulldozer's got itself bogged. We've got the fact that it couldn't go any further, and it's created a mini dam here, which is basically what wasn't here, so major disturbance to the ecosystem. And just here we've got regions where we're almost getting a hanging swamp within the hanging swamp. We've got other puddles showing disturbance and got all this water gathering with all these chemicals that weren't here before. Right, well, where I'm squatting here, it's unfortunate for me and good for you. This is smelling greatly. We've got brackish water with these oil slicks due to this disturbance, and it's really smelling somewhat. Anywhere else away from this region, there's not a smell to be perceived, except for just the nice fragrance of the natural bush. This is this pond within a pond. It's happened as a result of this bulldozer coming down to here. Right, well, this is pretty much the end of where the bulldozer came into the actual swamp itself. Excavator, I should say. The excavator couldn't make its way across there. It got itself bogged. This is a hanging swamp. That's what should happen to excavators that try and make their way through. But what you can see is just how much difference there is between the sides, where you see this healthy little swamp fern, this coral fern, this Glycinia dicarpa, plenty of that there, and the swamp banksias, the marsh banksias, and other plants common to the region around here, all living so well, a few bulrushes, and what's here is totally removed. Well, I'm standing in the middle of this zone where possibly there was drilling to see if they could get a footing for a house. And what we've done is we've seen just how devastating that excavator has been as it's gone through to here. What we're going to do now is we're going to go back to the tree line and we're going to see just how many trees have been knocked down over there. Because this illegal clearing not only disturbed the swamp that we have here, but also got into the bushland. Right, well here we have something short of a miracle. One of our lovely little Banksia integrifolias, and here's the beautiful little flower. And this little Banksia has had a 25-ton excavator come over it, and somehow this dear little thing survived. And here's the flower part, the cone. Right, well, here's what a 25-ton excavator does even in the firm ground. See how it's knocked the vegetation down. And over here is where we're going to look more closely at these trees that have been knocked down. Right, well we're standing amongst where a whole lot of these little eucalypts have been knocked down. If I point over here with a tape measure, you can see the healthy parts. You can see the foliage which is green, only freshly killed. You might notice the bole of the tree is black from a fire a long time ago, but these are eucalypts. They stand up to that. This tree has been terminated by an excavator. Right, well, here we see more Banksias that have been knocked down. Just to my right, you can see the trees that have been knocked down here. And where are we? We're standing on the eastern side of the waters which flow from the causeway going to the Christian Centre down to the mineral pool. Well, here we see a whole lot of little eucalypts that have been knocked down, possibly dragged from where they were just over to here. So carnage for the eucalypts, carnage for the small plants that are living in this region, for the little Banksias, for the Apacris, for the Hakea. Well, we're another 30 metres further down, and here you can see quite a large number of trees that have been knocked down. Seem to have a Angophora here, little red apple tree, Angophora knocked down, eucalypt knocked down, quite a lot of carnage all the way through there. You see it. We turn around, another one's been knocked down here, all around, all over here, and this goes on. We've got another 40 metres of it. Right, well this is the problem of bringing a 25-ton excavator into very, very soft soils. This is a hanging swamp. We have a whole lot of sandy soil, not greatly compacted. You put a scale like this on it, we're not even 100 metres from where all those other weeds are, from the cassia, from the crofton weed. And that could be here very soon. Well, here we are amongst the tree carnage again. Dear little Angophora, cousin of a gum tree, knocked down, and across it, perhaps the reason, or the non-reason for why this was done. We have a eucalypt with just a little bit of black carbon around the outside, result from a fire. It survived the fire in 2001, a huge fire that devastated a lot of the region. It survived. it did not survive a 25-tonne excavator. Here we have the second trial where this excavator went off in the swamp to do what? Well, here we have a slightly different Banksia roba. It's got big leaves, and as you can see, this poor specimen just happened to be in the wrong place when the 25-tonne excavator came through. What a 25-tonne excavator stop for? Well, as you can see, they stopped for nothing. And this was in the road. So here we are just a little bit further down, and you can see that the excavator has basically, what it's done in this region is just like a meteor crashing to earth, crash and burn, and wiping out all this region. Okay, well, we're a little bit further in the swamp here, and over a period of time, this region in front of me has had a lot of decay from vegetation, and what's happened is there's a fair bit of humus in it. But we still have this fairly delicate soil. Very easily disturbed. You can see a 25-tonne excavator has no trouble wiping out the remains of small plants, totally clearing it. And this is all exposed to weeds. If we have a look down this way, you'll see how the devastation continues. Right, well, here's the swamp as it should be, healthy and green. Plenty of this Glycinia dicarpa, this lovely little fern. Here you see it healthy. If I walk this way, where the excavator's got to it, you can see that's all that remains. Right, the dust comes up because the soils aren't stable. They've now been disturbed. And in front of me and all around here, there's a whole lot of bog. Right, well, we're at the end of this tour pretty much. You can see the devastation that's occurred. On my left here, I have a lovely little Banksia. This is natural. This is what was here. But where the excavator's gone, we see this turmoil. Now the future is in the hands of legislators. This is a valued swamp, and it's their job to make sure this is addressed. Saturday 18th to the 11th 2006. 20 months since the Vandal gators went through there with their bulldozers. 20 months since all this environmental destruction was wreaked on this region. We're having a second look at it. I have here an important document from Council, from the Environment Protection Manager. It says that Council has sought to seek to address this damage and has actually achieved a court order. Now these orders were issued by the court on the 15th of September 2006, that's this year, requiring Oscorp to carry out the recommendations contained in the remediation plan. There's a remediation plan for this issued the 15th of September, and they had to pay council costs for the proceedings. And what's significant is that the time frame for carrying out the works was within 2 months of that date. 2 months of the 15th of September. 15th of September 2006. Today it's the 18th, the 11th, the 18th of November 2006. Well, we're now 3 days beyond 2 months from when this work was meant to be done by. So we'll have a look and see just exactly what they've done, and you can make your mind up from there as well. Well, here we are at the very beginning, where we started before when we last did this tour, and what's been done to this region. Well, there's not much sign of any rehabilitation at all. There are some rocks. Someone's placed these here. If anything, they may stop bulldozers going in there, although I don't think a bulldozer would worry too much with these rocks. So they'll stop cars going in, but that was not a problem. The problem was initially bulldozers. So we've got a series of rocks placed here. We've still got the vegetation that was knocked down lying over there. Well, we're just about 10 metres down from where we started. And here we have a lovely Australian native, grass tree, and look at the friends it's got. New friends. Maybe we should say some new neighbours. Not exactly friendly. Here we have croftonweed, the bane of the nation. Exactly the first sort of plant you would expect where there's some sort of human disturbance. This grows wherever roads are cleared along the side of national parks, wherever housing estates come up to national parks and there's clearing between the native vegetation and where people sow their lawns to grass, you get this. Croftonweed itself is a fairly soft plant, but it's very successful. It spreads very quickly, fine little white flowers with seeds that disperse in springtime. Wherever there's exposure, they re-establish new colonies. Well, November 2006, this year has been noted by many people as being a very dry year. This is a hanging swamp, and the watershed on this has been small, just like it has all around the Sydney region. So what happens is that what can happen for the region is that the swamp is struggling to re-establish itself, and it is actually struggling due to this lack of water. And so what happens is the region remains cleared, people come in, leave their litter, the whole region struggles from weeds and from now lack of water. Well, between here and here you start to see the remains of a road. This was the first track that the bulldozer created that we went down. We'll have a look. Well, here we are 20 months later. This is the main area of devastation along this particular path. The bulldozer turned around and made clearing over there. The bulldozer worked its way down here, created little regions, little mud hollows, knocked down all the major bush that was there, and did the same over here. We're 20 months later, yes, the natives are coming back, but the area is still disturbed. What signs is there of rehabilitation by the developer in the last 2 months? None at all. None at all. Well, this is a detail of the main area where the havoc that's been caused by the bulldozer is evident. A bulldozer in a swamp is going to leave pathways which will fill with water after all the vegetation on top's been cleared, and 20 months later have those little holes been eradicated? No, they're still here. When we have a look at them, just like last time, you've got oil slicks, it stinks, This is not the sort of conditions that the area would normally have. The natives have to deal with this. You get microclimates creating excess decay, which changes the balance of the situation around here. We could have acidification of the soils. It's a concern. Well, we're not too far down the second path, and here's some sort of disturbance that's been created since the event. And a whole lot of soil taken from here and possibly placed here. We've got a stump that wasn't there before and that's placed there. Would this have been here had the original bulldozer passage not have occurred? No, not at all. The area would have just looked like this. Thick vegetation, impenetrable. Well, this is a sign of how one problem can create others. If the bulldozer hadn't come, we wouldn't have had this. Well, here we are just off the path where we were 20 months ago. 5 or 6 trees knocked down here. We've had 2 months since September for some rehabilitation to be done here. 2 months in the rehabilitation period, nothing's been done on this. If a single person had knocked down one of these trees, they would have faced a substantial fine for just knocking down one tree. And here, no fine for the individual trees being knocked down, no rehabilitation out of the time period. Well, this is virtually at the end of the other main bulldozer trail. Again, 20 months after the devastation, and no sign in the last 2 months of any rehabilitation by anyone at all. Not a sign. With this dry that Australia is facing, and in particular New South Wales, the area is very dry. So further drying as we come into summer, every likelihood that this will turn more into a dust bowl, which doesn't help vegetation like this Lychina dicarpa, this pouch coral fern, move across and start to rehabilitate itself over this land where it once was. You can see pouch coral fern everywhere there, none of it here. We've got swamp banksia there, none of it here. So we've got a little dust bowl. Alternatively, if it rains, this region again is still not producing any significant cover, and so the concern is that it will turn into, once again, a bog, like it did in winter. Of even greater concern is the fact that exotic plants often re-establish themselves better than natives. Of maximum concern is the fact we could not be any further here from where the bulldozers started their advance. All the way along round to here, we're probably 500 metres, half a kilometre from where the first bulldozer track ended. And what have we got to see for it down here? Well, look at this. We've got a thistle. We've got exotic weeds coming up along here. This is a great concern. You couldn't be you would imagine, okay, those weeds would be up there at the start, but to see them down here, the fact that it's been cleared, how could they get here? They could get here by airborne dispersal of their seeds. They can get here by people walking here. They can get here by feral animals bringing in on their feet. The seeds come in and get planted in that manner. Well, the soil's good. The weeds are having a great time. And what we've found that there's a small little path that just goes over to this area here, and we've got an unnatural plantation of pots. Okay, well, here's our plantation of pots. Obviously some sort of feral animal comes in here and brings in these exotic constructions, and this feral animal is creating a little region here where we're getting non-native plants again, and the feral animal I don't think would be getting here if it wasn't for that initial bulldozer trail. So here I am leaving where the feral animals have been and the plantation of plots. And here I am moving back to where the bulldozer left its initial devastation, which probably created the region for access for people to go and do that. Well, I think you can see that in the 2 months time period that's been allowed, there's been absolutely no rehabilitation. You make up your own mind, but it seems to me that there's no rehabilitation taking place. So councils, state governments have to really do something to make sure that their laws are acted upon. Why make laws if you can't enforce them? Government bodies have got a huge responsibility. We are the thinking animal on this planet, and we rule to a great extent. Government bodies have to get rid of the loopholes that allow situations like this to ravage our planet, to continually assault the environment we live in. Because really there's two types of people. There's the cowboys that only see their own little world, very self-centered, very money-oriented, and they think that the ends of the world are infinite. They just keep on going. That their particular influence will not be noticed. As a summation, how wrong they are, because their influence is noted. And precious areas like this are getting more and more under threat. This is the hanging swamp. This is the only area like this around here. The other type of person we could call a cosmonaut. It's a person that realises how significant our planet is. With our understandings of astronomy, we realise that all the other planets are dead. You won't last a second on them. The atmosphere's not right, the gravity's not right, there's no water. The only wonderful place that we have around us immediately is this dear Earth. And the cosmonauts realise that we have to look after and protect that. We have to save plants and animals from extinction. There's so much extinction going on. We've got cheetahs and tigers being threatened, major mammals from other continents. In Australia, we've got the Tasmanian devil. We've already lost the thylacine. In something like 90 years, we wiped that dear creature off the earth. We have a lot of valuable plants here, and we probably have valuable animals as well. In fact, we do. And cosmonauts realise that they have to be protected. We have to ourselves start acting as cosmonauts to protect this wonderful world that we have. Years ago, in 2005, this was a far different story, which you can probably see by referencing our previous film on the Vandal gators of Hanging Swamp at Stanwell Tops. And 10 years later, you can see the bush has pretty much regenerated itself once you get beyond the immediate fringe of weeds at the interface between the natural bush and civilization, disturbances of humanity, with all this sort of grass and clearing. Wherever the bulldozer goes, you get that. There's a swamp banksia there. Let's go and have a look at it. Either Banksia roba or Banksia palidosa. We've got cottonweed down here. You know? Rather nice. Oh, that's a brand new flower. Oh, get the exquisite colours on this. Beautiful greens. Far too easily just passed away. But very soon, when the seed and the pollen's released, it'll go like the one at the back. But look at this exquisite green here. It's almost like kingfisher blue. Exquisite. So probably Banksia roba, swamp Banksia. So in conclusion, after 10 years later, the hanging swamp has largely revegetated itself. The owner was never fined the $1 million he was supposed to be fined. Just got a small $300 fine. And largely thanks to the General Manager and the Council at the time, and inaction by those people in authority that should be protecting this land, the developers, or the person with the bulldozer that sent it in, was never prosecuted properly.